The tragedy of Hamlet opens at Elsinore Castle in Denmark.
Two guards meet up with Horatio, a friend of Prince Hamlet, and another soldier, Marcellus.
The guards tell Horatio they've been seeing a ghost on the battlements, and that it looks like the dead King Hamlet. Suddenly, the ghost appears, but it won't talk to them, and then leaves with the coming of dawn. Horatio decides to tell Prince Hamlet about the ghost.
Later, at the council chambers, the new king of Denmark, Claudius, addresses his court.
Claudius is the brother of the dead King Hamlet.
King Hamlet's brother?
That's right.
But if King Hamlet had a son, Prince Hamlet, why didn't Prince Hamlet become king?
Well, in Denmark, a council selects the next king. But it's still a good question. We also learn in this scene that Claudius has married King Hamlet's wife, Gertrude.
His dead brother's wife? Prince Hamlet's mother?
That's right.
Oh dear, that sounds awkward.
As Hamlet puts it, a little more than kin and less than kind.
King Claudius explains to the court what he's doing to keep Norway from invading Denmark.
It's here that we also meet Polonius, advisor to King Claudius. His son, Laertes, asks the king for permission to return to France.
Soon, Prince Hamlet is left alone on stage, where he delivers the first of his famous soliloquies.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew.
He seems upset.
Well, his father has died, and his mother has married his uncle. That's a lot to take.
Then Horatio and the guards arrive to tell Hamlet about the ghost that looks like Hamlet's father, and Hamlet resolves to speak to the ghost that night.
Meanwhile, Laertes says goodbye to his sister Ophelia. He knows there's been some kind of relationship between Ophelia and Hamlet, so Laertes warns her to stay away from Hamlet.
Princes can't marry whomever they please, so she's likely to get her heart broken.
Their father, Polonius, shows up to make sure Laertes doesn't miss his boat, but not before giving Laertes his now famous list of fatherly advice.
To thine own self be true.
Laertes leaves, and Polonius orders Ophelia to refuse to see Hamlet anymore. Do not believe his vows.
I shall obey, my lord.
That night, Hamlet, Horatio, and Marcellus are back on the castle walls, hoping for a glimpse of the ghost.
It soon shows up and beckons Hamlet to follow it, against the advice of Hamlet's friends, who think it might be the devil.
Do not, my lord.
Go on, I'll follow thee.
The ghost leads Hamlet away from his friends.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Now alone together, the ghost tells Hamlet that he is his dead father, King Hamlet.
I am thy father's spirit.
He then tells Hamlet that he was murdered by his brother Claudius, so that he could become king.
The serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
He then asks Hamlet to avenge his death.
If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not.
The rising sun forces the ghost to return to the purging fires of the afterlife, leaving Hamlet alone, who swears that he'll remember his father's commandment to get revenge.
I have sworn.
Horatio and Marcellus catch up with Hamlet, and he makes them swear not to tell anybody what has happened. He also warns them that he might start acting a little crazy.
At the start of Act 2, Polonius sends a servant to spy on his son Laertes in Paris.
As the servant leaves, Ophelia enters to tell her father about a frightening encounter she has just had with Hamlet.
I am so affrighted.
She says that Hamlet appeared to be completely crazy.
As if he had been loosed out of hell.
Polonius decides that Hamlet must be lovesick for Ophelia, because she's been refusing to see him, and the two of them leave to tell the king.
Come, go we to the king.
Meanwhile, Claudius and Gertrude meet with two of Hamlet's childhood friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
The king and queen ask them to spend some time with Hamlet to see what they can find out about how he's doing, since he's been acting so strangely.
You mean spy on Hamlet?
I guess you could call it that.
As the friends leave to find Hamlet, Polonius arrives and announces that the king's ambassadors have returned from Norway.
The ambassadors report that Fortinbras will give up his planned attack on Denmark, but is now asking for permission to travel through Denmark in order to attack Poland.
That's very good news for Claudius and Denmark. His diplomatic mission has succeeded.
Polonius then tells the king and queen that Hamlet has gone mad for love of his daughter, Ophelia.
He shows them some of the love letters that Hamlet has sent her.
To the most beautified Ophelia.
The king wonders how they could test the lovesickness theory.
How may we try it further, he asks.
Polonius suggests they spy on an encounter between Ophelia and Hamlet.
Just then, Hamlet approaches, reading a book. Polonius asks the king and queen to leave so that he can test Hamlet himself.
Here, the audience gets to see for themselves just how crazy Hamlet is acting, and he says some pretty crazy stuff.
You are a fishmonger.
Hamlet spends the whole time speaking in riddles. But Polonius senses that Hamlet isn't completely crazy.
Though this be madness, yet there is method in't.
Polonius leaves, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern enter.
Hamlet toys with them a bit before revealing that he knows the king and queen sent for them.
They confess to the fact that this is true, and then Hamlet tells them that he's been a little depressed lately.
I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern give Hamlet the good news that some actors are coming to the castle.
The players are coming to offer you service.
Hamlet loves a good play.
Then Polonius enters with the very same news.
The actors are come hither, my lord.
And soon the players themselves arrive.
Hamlet asks one of them to play one of his favorite scenes of Aeneas describing the slaughter of King Priam.
Out, out, thou strumpet fortune.
Polonius takes the players to get settled in, and in private, Hamlet asks the lead actor if he could give him a speech to put in the play that they will perform.
You could study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines?
Aye, my lord.
Finally left alone, Hamlet begins another of his famous soliloquies.
Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I.
He wonders how that actor could feel such strong emotion about something imaginary, while Hamlet himself has so much trouble taking action in a real situation, the murder of his father.
Am I a coward?
But then the audience learns about his plan to have the players perform a play in which there is a murder similar to the murder of his father.
I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father.
If Claudius gets upset by it, then Hamlet will know for sure that Claudius is guilty of murder, and Hamlet can get his revenge.
The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
At the start of Act 3, Claudius and Gertrude get reports on Hamlet.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern share the news that the arrival of the players seems to have cheered Hamlet up a bit.
There did seem in him a kind of joy.
Claudius asks Gertrude to leave because Hamlet should be passing by soon, and he and Polonius plan to spy on his encounter with Ophelia.
Sweet Gertrude, leave us too. Hamlet approaches, and Claudius and Polonius hide to spy on them.
But before Hamlet talks to Ophelia, he delivers yet another of his famous soliloquies.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
Hamlet wonders if death is a way out of his troubles. But then he remembers that we don't know what happens after we die.
For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come.
In other words, death could just as easily lead to yet more troubles.
Thus conscience does make cowards of us all.
Then Hamlet notices Ophelia.
She tries to return the letters he sent her, but he denies that he ever wrote them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
He's pretty mean to her, actually, and goes out of his way to put down all women.
Get thee to a nunnery.
But Ophelia only feels sorry for him.
Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown.
Then Claudius and Polonius emerge from their hiding place.
Doesn't seem like love or madness, but something is bothering him.
Whatever is going on with Hamlet, Claudius thinks he's dangerous and decides to send Hamlet on a trip to England.
He shall with speed to England.
Polonius suggests they wait and see what Hamlet is like after the play is performed and his mother has talked to him.
Let his queen mother all alone entreat him.
Claudius agrees, but he's worried.
Madness in great ones must not unwatched go.
It's time for the play, and Hamlet gives the actors some last-minute coaching.
It almost sounds like he's giving himself advice.
Suit the action to the word to the action.
Other members of the court start to arrive, and Hamlet tells Horatio about his plan.
Observe mine uncle.
Soon everybody is there, and the play begins.
When it gets to the murder scene, Claudius storms out.
Give me some light. Away!
Together, Horatio confirms for Hamlet that Claudius looked guilty.
I did very well note him.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern return to tell Hamlet that his mother wants to see him.
She desires to speak with you.
And soon Polonius returns to say the same thing.
The queen would speak with you, and presently.
Hamlet assures them all that he will go see his mother, and everybody leaves.
I will come by and by.
Left alone, Hamlet tells us that now he's ready to act against Claudius.
Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on.
But he remembers that he needs to go to his mother first. He tries to calm himself down so he doesn't get violent with her.
I will speak daggers to her, but use none.
Meanwhile, Claudius tells Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that he's sending Hamlet to England and wants them to go with him.
And he to England shall along with you.
Polonius arrives to tell Claudius that Hamlet is on his way to see his mother and that he will spy on their meeting.
Behind the arras, I'll convey myself.
Now left alone, Claudius is overcome with the guilt of killing his brother.
Oh, my offense is rank. It smells to heaven.
He wants to ask God's forgiveness, but how can he be forgiven if he still enjoys the benefits of his crime?
May one be pardoned and retain the offense?
He decides to pray anyway and drops to his knees.
Just then, Hamlet enters, on his way to see his mother.
Seeing Claudius, he decides to kill him on the spot, but then stops himself.
If he kills Claudius while he's praying, won't he be sending him to heaven?
A villain kills my father, and I send him to heaven.
Hamlet decides to wait for a time when Claudius is acting wicked.
When he is drunk asleep, or in his rage.
And he heads off to see his mother.
Ironically, Claudius stops praying just then and confesses that he couldn't ask for forgiveness after all.
My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go.
Pray you be round with him.
In Gertrude's private chambers, Polonius hides behind a curtain just before Hamlet enters.
Hamlet is quick to attack his mother.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
So Gertrude threatens to get someone else to talk to him.
I'll set those to you that can speak.
But Hamlet won't let her go.
You go not till I set up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
Suddenly afraid of her son, Gertrude calls for help.
Thou wilt not murder me? Help! Help! Ho!
In a panic, Polonius shouts for help too.
What? Ho! Help! Help! Help!
Thinking it's Claudius, Hamlet stabs through the curtain.
How now? A rat?
And kills Polonius.
Oh, I am slain.
He then tells his mother how badly she's been behaving.
Oh, shame, where is thy blush?
And she agrees.
These words like daggers enter in mine ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
Suddenly the ghost appears to tell Hamlet to take it easy on his mother and reminds him of his true purpose, to kill the king.
This visitation is but to whet thy most blunted purpose. Speak to her, Hamlet.
Since only Hamlet can see the ghost, Gertrude worries that her son is going crazy.
Alas, he's mad.
Suddenly softening his approach, Hamlet makes his mom promise to keep her distance from Claudius.
Do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them rancor.
And he reminds her that he's being sent to England.
I must to England.
As he leaves, he takes Polonius's body with him.
I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Good night, mother.
In Act 4, things start to move quickly.
Bestow this place on us a little while.
Gertrude tells Claudius that Hamlet killed Polonius, and Claudius resolves to send Hamlet away.
The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. Guildenstern?
He then sends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to find Hamlet and to retrieve the body of Polonius.
Bring the body into the chapel.
Hamlet has just disposed of the body of Polonius when Rosencrantz and Guildenstern find him.
What have you done, my lord, with the body?
But Hamlet will only speak to them in riddles.
Compounded it with dust whereto 'tis kin.
Hamlet is brought to Claudius.
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
But he speaks to Claudius in riddles too.
At supper.
At supper? Where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten.
Hamlet finally tells Claudius what he wants to know.
You shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby.
Go seek him there.
Claudius tells Hamlet it's time for him to leave for England.
Prepare thyself. Everything is bent for England.
And Hamlet agrees.
For England.
Left alone on stage, we learn from Claudius that he's also sending a letter to England demanding that they kill Hamlet as soon as he arrives.
Do it, England.
Meanwhile, Fortinbras passes through Denmark on his way to battle with Poland.
Go, Captain. Greet the Danish king.
Hamlet learns from the captain that the battle will be over a small, worthless piece of land.
We go to gain a little patch of ground.
Left alone, Hamlet marvels at these men who are willing to fight to the death for nothing.
Witness this army of such mass and charge, even for an eggshell.
How can they do that when he can't act even when he has much better reasons to do so?
How stand I, then, that have a father killed, a mother stained?
So Hamlet resolves to become a man of action from this moment forward.
Oh, from this time forth my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth.
Meanwhile, back at the castle, Gertrude and Claudius see for themselves that Ophelia is going crazy.
How do you, pretty lady?
She keeps breaking into song, and she says stuff that's hard to make sense of.
They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord.
But soon she's on her way again.
Come, my coach. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night. Good night.
Leaving Claudius and Gertrude worried and confused.
Follow her close. Give her good watch, I pray you.
Claudius thinks the madness has been caused by the death of her father, Polonius.
Oh, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death.
Then suddenly, Laertes barges in.
He's returned from France to avenge his father's death, even if it means killing Claudius.
Let come what comes. I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father.
Before Claudius can calm him down, Ophelia returns with flowers to give to everybody, and Laertes can't believe what he sees.
Oh heavens, is it possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life?
I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died.
Then off she goes, leaving a heartbroken Laertes.
Do you see this, oh God?
Claudius says he'll help Laertes get revenge for his father's death and his sister's madness. But Laertes needs to know who is responsible for it all first.
Where the offense is, let the great axe fall.
Meanwhile, two sailors deliver a letter to Horatio that turns out to be from Hamlet.
The letter tells Horatio that Hamlet's ship was boarded by pirates, but that the pirates have let him go in exchange for a promised ransom.
Then the sailors take Horatio to meet Hamlet.
Act 4 ends with a meeting between Claudius and Laertes.
A messenger delivers a letter from Hamlet, telling Claudius that he's back in Denmark.
High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom.
Knowing Hamlet is back, Claudius sees an opportunity to get rid of Hamlet, using Laertes' desire for vengeance.
What would you undertake to show yourself your father's son in deed, more than in words?
To cut his throat in the church.
Claudius proposes the following plan. He'll invite Hamlet to a friendly fencing competition with Laertes.
Claudius bets you can beat Laertes in fencing.
But one of the foils won't be blunted, so Laertes can use it to kill Hamlet.
Just to be sure, Laertes suggests dipping the tip in a deadly poison that he has.
And then Claudius, just to leave no doubt, says he'll also have a poison drink for Hamlet when he gets thirsty.
Suddenly, Gertrude enters.
One woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow.
And she has terrible news.
Your sister's drowned, Laertes.
Gertrude tells the story of Ophelia drowning in a stream while collecting flowers.
Laertes tries not to cry.
Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears.
But the tears won't stop, so he leaves.
Adieu, my lord. Act 5 opens in the church graveyard.
Two gravediggers argue about whether someone who commits suicide can be buried by the church, since suicide is a mortal sin.
Is she to be buried in Christian burial that willfully seeks her own salvation?
Hamlet and Horatio show up, on their way back to the castle.
In youth, when I did love, methought it was very sweet.
But the gravedigger's work sends Hamlet into a meditation on death, and he decides to talk to the gravedigger.
Whose grave's this, sir?
Mine, sir.
Hamlet soon learns that one of the skulls belonged to the court jester, Yorick, who used to entertain Hamlet when he was a kid.
This same skull, sir, was, sir, Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, a fellow of infinite jest.
A procession approaches, so Hamlet and Horatio hide nearby.
As they lower the coffin into the ground, Hamlet learns that it's Ophelia who has died.
A ministering angel shall my sister be.
What? The fair Ophelia?
Distraught, Laertes leaps into her grave and asks to be buried with her.
Now pile your dust upon the quick and dead.
Not to be outdone, Hamlet jumps into the grave too, and they start to fight.
The others pull them apart, and Hamlet claims to have loved Ophelia more than Laertes ever could.
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not make up my sum.
He then storms away, Horatio following.
The king assures Laertes that the timing is right for their plan.
Strengthen your patience in our last night's speech.
The final scene of the tragedy of Hamlet opens with Hamlet and Horatio back in the castle.
Hamlet tells Horatio about the letter he found on the ship, instructing the English to cut off Hamlet's head upon his arrival in England.
He also tells them how he changed the note so that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern would be killed upon arrival instead.
The two of them are then interrupted by Osric, one of Claudius's stuffy courtiers.
Osric tells them that Claudius has bet that Hamlet can beat Laertes in a fencing match.
His Majesty has laid a great wager on your head.
Hamlet agrees.
If it please His Majesty, let the foils be brought.
Soon the royal court gathers for the competition.
Claudius tries to get Laertes and Hamlet to be on friendly terms again, and Hamlet tries to apologize by blaming his behavior on his madness.
What I have done, I here proclaim, was madness.
They then choose their foils, with Laertes secretly picking the one with the sharp point.
They make their first pass, and Hamlet gets a hit.
A hit, a very palpable hit.
Claudius adds the poison pearl to the goblet, pretending that it's a prize, and offers Hamlet a drink.
Hamlet, this pearl is thine.
But Hamlet's not ready for a drink, and they make another pass, with Hamlet getting another hit.
A touch, I do confess.
The queen grabs the poisoned cup to toast Hamlet's success.
The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet.
Claudius tries to stop her.
Gertrude, do not drink.
But Gertrude drinks anyway.
Hamlet is ready for another pass, but neither of them scores a point.
Nothing neither way.
Frustrated, Laertes rushes Hamlet and stabs him with the poisoned tip.
Have at you now.
They start fighting for real.
In the struggle, they change rapiers, and Hamlet stabs Laertes with the poisoned tip as well.
The queen collapses from the poisoned drink.
Oh, my dear Hamlet, the drink, I am poisoned.
And she dies.
Laertes feels the poison too and tells Hamlet about the poisoned tip.
The king's to blame.
At last, Hamlet gets his revenge.
Then, Venom, to thy work.
Here, thou incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, follow my mother.
Laertes says he's sorry.
Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet.
And then Laertes dies.
Knowing death is coming, Hamlet welcomes it and drinks some poison too.
Fortinbras and his army can be heard approaching, and Hamlet declares that Fortinbras should be the new king.
Fortinbras has my dying voice.
Then Hamlet utters his final words.
The rest is silence.
And he dies.
Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Fortinbras and a couple of ambassadors from England arrive in the hall.
The ambassadors share their news.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Horatio promises to tell Fortinbras how all these deaths came about.
So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts.
Of accidental judgments, casual slaughters.
Of deaths put on by cunning and forced cause.
All this can I truly deliver.
Fortinbras tells his men to carry Hamlet off with the honors of a fallen soldier.
So ends the tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, by William Shakespeare.